Okay, class, today we are actually going to keep working with percents, but we're going to look at this idea of percent problems or story problems. And the idea that we're going to conquer today is percent of change. Now we're going to realize it could be an increase or it could be a decrease. And depending on what we're looking for and whether it's an increase or decrease is how we're going to set it up. But no matter which type of problem it is, we're going to use our percent of change proportion. So if you look, we've got percent of change over 100 equals change in price over original. Now, whenever we see this idea of change in price, we're going to have to subtract. Okay, we're going to have to subtract two numbers to get the change in. Okay. And we're we're always talking about the original price and the new price. So again, the order depends on whether we're working with an increase or a decrease. So let's go ahead and look at our first problem down here, kind of written as a story problem. It says, okay, the price of a soccer ball has been discounted 20% and has a sale price of $25.60. What was the original price? So we are actually looking for the original price. So if I look at my percent proportion up here, what's our change of percent? Well, our change of percent is 20%. So that means we've got 20 over 100 equals, now it's the change in price over the original. Now we are actually looking for the original, okay, so I'm going to make that X. And now let's figure out how we're going to figure out this idea of change in. Now, did you realize that it's discounted? Okay, if it's discounted, that means that the original price is bigger than the new price. So this means it's going to be the original minus 25.60. Okay, and so that's what I mean by the order depends on what we're looking for. Since it's a discounted price, the numerator is a change in, so we've got to subtract original and new. And on this one, my original price is greater because my new price is discounted. Now that we've got our proportion, we can just use our cross-multiplying idea, how we solve proportions to take care of the rest. So let's look and see what happens here. We've got 20 times x, which is 20x, equals 100 times x minus 25.60. Okay, so we've got 20x equals 100x minus, and again, if I'm multiplying by 100, I'm just moving that decimal point over two places. All right, so now we've got to get x's on one side and numbers on the other. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 100x from both sides. So that's going to give me negative 80x equals negative 2,560. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 80. Now, if you want to, we can cross out those zeros there to make it just a little bit easier. So we've got to do some long division. So how many times does 8 go into 256? Well, 8 goes into 25. Let's see, let's make that 3, because that's going to give me 24, and I subtract 16, 32. Okay, so x equals 32, so that means $32 is my original price. Okay, so we're going to use this idea of the proportion on every one of these problems, okay, and set them up. So I think what I've done is we've got a worksheet, and I've actually gone through here and picked about 3 off of the charts. And the first thing we're going to look at is percent increase. Percent increase. All right, so when I look here, that for the tennis racket, we're actually going to be solving for the percentage. That's the block that's empty, so it's going to be x over 100 equals, what's the change in? We're going to subtract these two values and get 4 over. Our original price was 32. All right, and then we're just going to cross multiply. When I'm looking at the bus ticket, well, this time they told me my percent, so we've got 5 over 100. I've got, okay, my original is 40, and I'm looking for the new price. Well, again, this time it's an increase. So that means my new price is more than the original because we bumped it up. So this is going to be 40 minus X. And then we're just going to go ahead and use our proportion. And then on the last one, the Uber fare, you've got to remember when we're looking for original price, I need to have 2 X's. Okay, I need to have 2 X's in my proportion. So we know it's 33 1/3, so I'm just going to make that 33.3 over 100 equals, now I need the original, so I need an X there. Now we got to think it through. If it's a percent increase, the new price is more, so this would be 14 minus X. And I put them all here in the chart because I wanted you to see placement of X is very important because we've got to decide whether we're doing a percent increase or a percent decrease. And then we're just going to go back and use our proportions that we talked about in back in 7.2. Now, I've got one story problem for us to look at. Let's go ahead and get to there. And here it is. It says the Adams family pays $16 for a family membership to Spotify. This was an 8% increase from last year. All right. What was the price of the membership last year? So we are trying to find, we need the original price. That's what we're looking for because they want to know how much was the last year. So here we go. We know it's an 8% increase. 8 over 100 equals. We're looking for original, so I need an X on the bottom. And then since it was an increase, okay, the new price is more, so this is going to be 16 minus X. Again, because it was an increase, the new price is greater, which was $16. So now we're just going to go ahead and use our cross multiplying, our cross product. So we've got 8X equals, and that's going to be 100 times 16 minus X. 8X equals 1600 minus 100X. We're going to add 100 this time, so we've got 108X equals 1600, and then we're going to divide both sides by 108. And please, please, please don't get lost or messed up in the basic math, okay, as we go through. So if we take 1600 and divide it by 108, all right, and then I'm just going to give you the answer. We're not going to take the time to do the long division. X equals 1480, okay? So that was your answer. The original price was $14.80. So again, big things I want you to think about and worry about. Number one, you've got to pay attention if it's percent increase or percent decrease. So when you do that change in price, you subtract correctly. And then remember, if it's an original price, if we're looking for the original price, we need 2 X's in our equation. Great job today. You can go ahead and start your homework.